What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a brand new review. This is actually a live, you guys. So this is a new live for Rated to Love, you guys. Season 8, episode 10. This episode, you guys, it was a whole lot. But I want you guys to just tell me your good, your bad, and your ugly about this episode. We're gonna go ahead and just get into it, you guys. But before we do that, you guys know the spiel. If you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this episode of Rated to Love. Shall we? What's up, Evita? How are you doing on this good Saturday afternoon? So yeah, this episode right here, I was a little. It ain't no. I was a little. I was pissed at the end of it. But I will tell you guys that I had already known what was going to happen before we got to this week's episode. One, because OWN was very sloppy in showing the trailer for this week's episode. I don't know if it was on their YouTube page or what, but they showed the trailer and you can see Chris going off and you can see that it was Jessica. So we obviously knew that it was Sierra who went home in this week's episode. So yeah, we get into this scene with the we open up with Marie telling who's going home, and no shock there, it's Sierra. You say you're having a good day today. I'm glad to hear it, and I hope it gets even better. Stays that way. But yeah, it was Sierra, you guys. So I've said this time and time again about this cast right here. There is no connection, so I wasn't really surprised that Sierra left. I will say though, I'm kind of glad that we didn't with Sierra and Janelle, since they're not smaller framed women. I'm happy that they made it because you guys know when it comes to the plus size women, the full figured women, they typically send them home first, right? So that is one thing I will say that I like. But here in Texas, most men in Texas like a woman with a little meat on their bones. So I wasn't surprised that they made it as far as they did. Um, but yeah, I think Sierra was relieved when she went home. I believe she was a little bit relieved because she said thank you. And I was like, okay, Sierra. I'm like, you guys know, I told you guys I like Sierra. I like all the people on this cast. Hey, Shayna, how you doing? Y'all, please go subscribe to Shayna's channel if you guys are not subscribed. What I think she's almost at 1,000 subscribers, almost. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shayna, but I think you're almost at 1,000. Let me go look. I know you're 900 something, but yeah, you guys go subscribe to Shayna. Go subscribe to Shayna. Who? Yeah, go subscribe to Shayna. Go subscribe to the Bell Perspective. Go subscribe to Kira Speaks, and go subscribe to D Movie Man. I will put them on my community tab, but go support you guys. I really would appreciate if you guys would do that for me, that solid favor for me as well. So after Sierra had left, yeah, after Sierra had left, um, we pick up. So Janelle was talking to the men, and they were talking about the fact that the word combative, right? And how we don't want to use that label for black women. And if you guys watched the panel last night, I said my 2 cents about that, how I feel about that. And my 2 cents is yes, we probably shouldn't say that about black women, but as I also stated, if the shoe fits, wear it, right? But that shoe doesn't fit for Jessica. Hate to say it, but that shoe more so specifically fits for Janelle because we saw Janelle get into numerous altercations with people this season. So yeah, and I think what it is with Jessica, I think Jessica gets lumped in because she is cool with Janelle, and I think that's where the problem comes. I think that's where the issue comes in, is that I think she gets linked in because she's cool with um Justin Janelle. The thing that I did not like though was the fact that with the men, when they were asking the question, right? They were asking the question, but the men were just not really saying what happened, right? They wouldn't say who said it. And I was like, why are y'all just breezing over the fact that Chris said it? Like, I didn't understand that. But Jessica knows that it was Chris who said it, right? Because she said in her, I think it was her interview, that she said that those were some word that was a word that came up when she met with Chris's ex, was the word combative. And I still have yet to see any episodes where she was combative. I haven't saw that. She may speak her mind, but as far as combative goes, I just have not saw the combative side. But again, you guys can tell me if you guys have saw it. But me personally, I have not saw it. Shayna says, "Yep, almost there." Oh, you're so welcome. Evita says, "I agree. Let's call a spade a spade. Jessica may not be combative, but she's confrontational and argumentative, in my opinion." I will challenge that argumentative part, right? Because I haven't really saw her be argumentative. What I've saw is she says she says her point of view. Now it may be how she says it that may seem a little bit argumentative, but I haven't really saw her be argumentative or now confrontational. The only time we saw her say anything that I would perceive as possibly confrontational was a situation with Kira. That was the one time that I would say that. But as far as argumentative, excuse me, y'all, I don't necessarily know if I would say argumentative, but I mean, we can agree to disagree on that one. But excuse me, y'all. But yeah, but yeah, the argumentative part, I don't know. I would have I would have to go back and look and see. So Shayna says Janelle is definitely the more combative one. We know the real diva that's combative is Chris. Absolutely. Chris is the person that I'm going to say is the most combative out of anybody. You have attached that to Jessica, but sir, in this scene, in the final scene of this episode, you mostly gave combative. Jessica sat there and just looked at you and said absolutely nothing. And I absolutely lived for it and I go up for it. But yeah, like I said, the thing that I just did not like was the fact that the men just wouldn't say anything. And then Katarina. Here's my thing. I don't have anything against Katarina, nothing personal, right? But in this scene with Katarina, Katarina gave very much so pick me vibes when she was like, and she's basically said what I just said. If the shoe fits, wear it, right? But here's the thing with Katarina, your friend Allie, when your friend Allie came in with her terrible wig, she was, somebody could say she came in, I'm going to say it in the nice way, right? She came in a little strong when it came to, um, she came in strong as far as Herbert was concerned. But other people could say that that was aggressive. Other people could say that that was combative. So if you want to assess that to your friend, let's not try to do that to Jessica. So Evita says Jessica lining up the men to confront them on who said what in the men's lounge is just that. It is. I'll give you that. But I think she just wanted to I mean, she knew who said it, but I think she wanted to, you know, see if Chris had the cojones to repeat what he said. I think that's more so what it was. I think she was challenging him in a sense. But actually, going back to that, it really wasn't Jessica that did that. It was more so Janelle, because Janelle was saying, we shouldn't use that word. Because Jessica was like, let me just sit back and be not be combative. But I get what you're saying, Evita, for sure. I definitely do. But I would say the confrontational side really kind of came from Janelle. So, but yeah, Kat, like I said, Kat, you were really, for me, these are my opinions. You were just giving a little bit of a pick me energy. That's the vibe I was getting from you, Katarina. Then it also feels like you are scraping the bottom of the barrel for connection. because this episode we now see that you got a connection with Marie, which I don't buy it. And I want to say one thing, you guys. So before I came on here to do this live, I was on Own's YouTube page. You guys know I don't typically do that, but I saw that there was a digital short that they showed where back when what was her name? Lee introduced her friend Muffin to Quentin. She also introduced Muffin to Chris as well, and Chris knows Muffin. Oh, speaking of Muffin, you guys, I want to talk about that real quick. So my friend that I work with, she I don't think she knows Muffin personally, but she's met her and she follows her on social media. So you guys, Muffin is actually engaged. So I don't think Muffin wanted Quentin. So Evita says if a man would have confronted the women on something specific said in the women's lounge where everything said there is supposed to stay there, we would be up in arms. So I get what you're saying. I think the real reason, and I'm not, and don't take this as I'm defending anything, but I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? The difference is, I think what the issue is the fact that Marie came to the to the elimination with the word combative. I think that's the big problem, is the fact that Marie repeat and what Marie could have done is Marie could have came with a different. Well, I looked up. If you guys watched my review, I looked up synonyms for combative, and they're all the same. They all have the same exact meaning, but you could use different words that you could use different words, but they still have the exact same meaning, right? So I think that's the ultimate issue is the fact that Marie literally repeated what was said in the lounge in the quote unquote men's lounge since they're not technically in the lounge. I think that's the biggest issue is that he repeated it instead of curtailing it and picking a better array of picking from a different choice of words. I think that's the biggest issue. You say I like Kat, but she's not interested in Marie. No, not at all. So at one point we saw Jessica and we saw Janelle talking, right? So Jessica was saying that she doesn't really at this point trust Marie. And I don't, knock her for that or not, right? Nothing. I don't knock her for that. Not feeling like she can trust him, right? If that's how she feels, that is exactly how she feels. And, you know, hey, it is what it is, right? So the one thing I want to say about this, when Katarina went up to that room where the men were, first of all, that room was nasty as hell. Then I noticed that there were some bunk beds, and I'm like, so are y'all actually sleeping on the bunk beds? I was hella confused looking at that. like, I was like, I really hope they're not sleeping on these bunk beds, but they probably were. So after that, we move over to the next day, and we see as the men are going fishing. Now, mind you, none of them said they knew how to fish. I was like, so what's the purpose in y'all doing this fishing exercise? It's giving we just trying to fill a scene because there's a lake here or a pond or something. So we also find out that Quentin is allergic to fish, seafood. I was like, so why are you fishing, sir, if you're allergic? But hey, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That I'll let Janelle tend to that, right? Speaking of Janelle, I get that you say you have a connection with Quentin, right? It gives very much so territorial vibes. It gives very much so, a thin line between love and hate Lynn Whitfield. It just gives so many, it just gives so many weird vibes. Like, my God. So he caught a fish and Lee was out there by him, right? Quentin, I wish you had thrown that fish back into that lake because that fish, that was a goldfish. Like that one, you ain't finna eat off of that. Talking about, and then when Janelle came out there talking about we gonna eat good tonight, babe. No, y'all not. Now with that little snapper, y'all are not finna eat off of that. But hey, it is what it is. It was very cringeworthy. And then I was noticing Lee. So Lee was talking about the fact that Quentin is struggling with something. I'm like, girl, he ain't struggling with nothing. he is locked in with Lee. Not with Lee, but he is locked in with Janelle. But a struggle, there is nothing struggling between that relationship. That's just my personal opinion, right? So then next up we get Chris, right? I have been seeing through Chris for quite some time, but this episode really solidified it for me what I had been feeling, that Chris was just playing a numbers game. And what it was when he brought Lee that those sandals. Now again, I watched this episode again before I did my review earlier this morning, and I couldn't tell what kind, if those were name brand sandals or not. It's not really important or anything like that. But I just couldn't tell what kind of sandals those were. But I thought it was just very, very, very interesting that he decided to gift Lee with some sandals on the retreat. But mind you, he's had, connections with both Jessica and a connection with Aries, right? But from what we saw on the show, he's never presented either one of them with gifts. And at one point in time, Jessica was his top connection. So I was just a little thrown back by that because I was like, that's interesting. But like I said, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, we're down to the wire at this point, and I just feel like, in order for him to stay longer, that he feels like he needs to do something to make sure that these women, when they go to the deliberation, that they remember him and they're like, oh, well, Chris did this, and I like Chris, so yeah, let me keep Chris on. Let me keep Chris around. That's what it was given to me. Evita says, I hate that one full figured woman that made it the furthest on this show is a mean girl with the nastiest attitude. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel a way about that. And hey, Brandy, how are you? You say, I started feeling weird about Chris when he cried on that date with Aries. I know a lot of people have felt weird about that. I know a lot of people who was feeling weird about that situation. And to his defense, right? Because I actually in that particular scene, I empathize with him because I know what it's like to lose a parent. So I know that when you talk about your parent, you can't control when the emotions come out. So I did understand that, but I also at the same time did kind of see a little bit of a manipulative vibe in that scene, because it did feel a little weird that he brought the picture out just out of nowhere. Because if you guys were to see my apartment, my mom's picture is right by my, I haven't hung it up yet, but my mom is sitting right here in the living room with me. But I don't just bring my mom out, just for everybody to see, right? But so I got that. I definitely do get that, right? But I think I started to see through Chris with that date with his ex girlfriend. That was the moment that I started to really, really see through Chris. I think that was the point in the season where I started to see through him, right? So, like I said, for him with this gift with Lee, I just felt like it was a way for him to say, okay, let me try to get some brownie points with someone, so that way when I go to the ladies' lounge, she can remember me and be like, oh, Chris did something really sweet for me. While we were on the retreat, he bought me some sandals, and it did come up in the ladies' lounge. So I think Chris was very calculated in doing that. I definitely feel that way. And I want you guys to tell me if you feel the same way. And it's okay if you guys don't. So we also see another thing with Chris, right? So Chris was doing archery with Aries. And I was like, that's interesting. So you go and do an archery date with Aries. But again, mind you, Jessica was his number one at one point. I'm not Lee, but Aries was his number two. But you ain't never done any from what we've saw, you've done nothing like that for these women. And I noticed this with the dates with the friends, with Jessica and Aries' friends. I noticed that Chris was talking about how he thought he was doing better than his quote unquote competition, right? I was like, so you just playing I feel like you're in it to win. It's a game that you're in it to win it, not that you are literally interested in either one of these women. Because especially that day with Jessica's friends, I was like, how does he feel that this date went any kind of good when you couldn't even answer the question of what wife qualities you see in her. Like I was so baffled by that. But yeah, I think with Chris, for me personally, Chris gives that he's not intentional about the things that he does. And again, I definitely want you guys to chime in and tell me your guys' thoughts and opinions on that below. So the next few scenes, I'm gonna kind of breeze through them because they really didn't give me anything. So the first scene, we have a solo date with Katerina and Marie. And I just kept sitting there thinking to myself, like, why do we have this scene? He presented her with some stones, I was just like, there is no connection here. I was like, this is like the last, few seconds of a foot. This is like the last few seconds of a football game, and you either need to get a field goal or you need to get a touchdown in order to win or tie the game. That's what it was given to me. You guys can tell me y'all thoughts and opinions, but that's what it was given to me. It just feel like these two. It feels like for me with Marie, he feels as if he messed things up with Jessica. And I did forget a scene. So Jessica and Marie did talk at one point, and he was apologetic for not having empathy for her. Do I think he was sincere? I do. Um, and I respect that. I think in that, but I think he should have done that before then. After that deliberation, after that, elimination, I think he should have done it then. And I also will say I did not like the fact that everybody was trying to, check on Marie. Like, why was everybody so focused on Marie and not the person who was called combative? Just my question. Just a question that I had. Just a question that I had. So yeah, this date with not Aries, but with Katarina and Marie, it fell flat for me. It didn't give me anything. I just knew that I was just watching two people who were trying to who it gave me. It gave me Paul and it gave me Dakia. That was exactly what that gave me, Paul and Dakia. Because remember, when they on Paul and Dakia season, all of their connections were gone, and so we see them in the last few episodes, and now they have connections. I was like, come on now, we're smarter than that. We're a lot smarter than that. So then the next day we have is Janelle and Quentin. Now here's the thing. Quentin asked the question of Janelle, how do you handle conflict? I was like, sir, what now? How does she handle conflict? You saw how she handles conflict when she got into it with Katarina. She is not opposed to a fisticuffs. The woman will fight if she needs to. So y'all, you asking her how does she handle conflict? Sir, you know how she handles conflict. And I think it might be best for you to stay on her good side. I really do. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be best that you stay on that woman's good side at all costs. So then, he was talking about how in his last relationship that his partner didn't, his girlfriend didn't say "I love you" and things like that. And I was like, Quentin, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that when we saw your ex, she said that you weren't the one who was ready to commit. So maybe we're talking about a different ex. I don't know, but we could be. I just don't know that for a fact. But yeah, I don't know if you were rewriting history or what was going on there. Evita says, word on the curb is that the Instagram rant Janelle went on saying one of the guys is gay was directed at Chris. Oh, I knew I knew exactly who she was talking about in that moment. I knew it was directed at Chris. I never said anything, but I wholeheartedly knew who she was directing that energy towards. I don't know why she directed it toward him, but I kind of put two and two together. I had already kind of never mind, but I kind of put that together that that's what she was talking about. Wasn't a shock to me when what I was trying to figure out, who was she calling the Uber, who was she calling the DoorDash or Uber driver. I feel like that's Marie. No shade to Marie, but I think that's what she was talking about. No shade, Marie. Um. So then the next date we had is Aries and Phil. So with Aries and Phil, you guys, I know I've said this plenty of times before that I do see Aries and Phil, going a long way, right? But I also had to look in this episode and I realized that, yes, they may be compatible, in certain aspects, but I also feel like there might be some pause for cause when it comes to Aries, right? I feel like Aries might be like, is this man financially stable for me? And that's what I was getting from her is she was wondering if he was financially stable. If he is, I don't know. I just, yeah, I do like them together. So let me go ahead and say, if we go with the traditional how we've been doing, how the seasons have been previously, where we'll end up with three couples, I will say that I can see two couples, right? I think I feel like Phil and Aries will say yes to each other. They'll choose each other. I feel like Janelle and Quentin will choose each other, and then I also feel like maybe Jessica and Marie. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Brandy says Marie is one of the men on Twitter that he owns multiple. Oh, he owns multiple business, so he can get up when whatever time he wants. It's still giving DoorDash. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so he told you that he owns multiple businesses, so he can get up at whatever time. Okay, I mean that's fine. That's fine, I guess. As a business owner, I'm sorry, but for me, as if I were a business owner, I would not want to wake up at noon. I would want to be, up early, getting my business started, doing my work, doing my calls and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, people are different, right? Evita says, I think she was talking about Phil being the Uber driver. Hmm. I don't get that from Phil, but maybe. Hey, hey, how are you doing today, Motown investor? But yeah, you guys, let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think will make it? Who do you guys, when we get to the finale, in the words of Misha, who do you guys think will have the theme song playing behind them? So so we get to the ladies lounge, right? So the ladies, they go around and they start talking about who their number one connections are, right? So Jessica said that she is locked in with Marie. Lee says that she is, you know, her number one is Chris. Aries says her number one is Phil. Of course, Janelle's number one is Quentin. Katarina, she doesn't have I don't even think Katarina has a number one or a number two, but she named Marie and she named Chris in her connections. I was like, girl, where do they come from? And then who else is left? So it's Katarina, Katarina, Janelle, Lee, Aries. Is that it, you guys? I feel like I'm missing somebody. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Jessica, Janelle, Janelle, Aries, Lee, and Katarina. It's six women, right? Did I name all of them? If I did, I did. If I didn't, I missed somebody. I missed somebody. I really can't remember. But yeah. So so the men that were in the bottom, it turns out to be Chris's name was brought up. Chris's name was brought up. Who else name was brought up? And Marie. So those two names were brought up. So we get to the eliminates, and Aries is on the eliminate with Marie, and Jessica is on the eliminate with Chris. Um, Shanna says Aries and Phil will make it to the end. Yes, they will. Avita says I agree with your last three couples, even though I only like Aries and Phil. And I guess you can call it a podcast. Hey, friend. You say sorry, I can't help with the names. Oh, you and them nicknames. Also, you guys, if you guys are not, please go subscribe to my friend Angel, and I guess you can call it a podcast, friend. But you got to get we got to get you a little bit more consistent on YouTube. We want you to grow, but we need you to get a little bit more consistent. We got to get these videos out. I know the shows probably don't be given, but let's because I know I do some show like look ready to love. This ain't given, but I stay unfortunately I stay consistent with the reviews. But yeah, you guys go subscribe to I guess you can call it a podcast. Go subscribe to Shayna. Go subscribe to Brandy. Go subscribe to D Movie Man. Go subscribe to The Bell Perspective. Go subscribe to Miss Kira Speaks. Go subscribe to I know most of y'all subscribe to Misha, but go subscribe to my friend Misha. Although people like to call me a hater, people like to call me a hater on Misha's channel, but I absolutely love and adore Misha. Yeah, go subscribe to people, you guys. So Motown investor says Quentin and Lee will get to the end together. Really? You think that? Wow. Over Janelle. That's gonna be that would be interesting to see. You say, hey friend, I know I'm working on it. Yeah, yeah. Let's I got your back. So the eliminate, you guys. I will say that this really pissed me off, but it pissed me off, but I was like really kind of cool with it at the same time. I hate the fact that the producers had Jessica be the one to tell Chris that he was not rated a love, because then you see what a little bitch boy he is, right? Ugh. But before we get into that, so Marie was on the eliminate with Aries. I hated the fact that Aries was, slowly spitting out the fact that he's still ready to love. I was like, girl, just say he's still ready to love or he's not ready to love. One of the two. So over with Jessica, Jessica was talking to Chris, and she brought up the combative comment, right? So Chris is a little punk because Chris wanted to throw Marie under the bus and say, well, he's the one that said it. I didn't call you combative. I was like, sir, it's on camera. Like, you said it in front of the cameras, you said it in front of all the men, but you can't say that you called her combative. Okay, fine. And to Jessica's defense, you guys, like I said, I've met Jessica. She's a sweet person. So, like I said on the live, and I said on my review, I think even Misha said it. She just has RBF. And I think that's because she's really approachable. She's very nice. Um, like I said, I met her in my office space. We work in the same office. We work in the same building. We don't work for the same company. We just work in the same building. And then she had a back to school event for the community. She had a community event, and then she gave away backpacks. She gave away food. So somebody who's so combative, I don't necessarily know that they would do those things, but yeah. What else? But yeah, I lost my train of thought, to be quite honest with you guys. My bad. Let me get to the comments real quick. So you say, I guess you can call it bitch boy for real. Ugh. Evita says, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You're just a great supporter. Oh, thank you, Evita. Yeah, I didn't pay no attention to it. And the funny thing was, the person is somebody who subscribes to my channel. So I did them a solid favor, and I went ahead and blocked them. So they don't have to worry about seeing the hater anymore. So it's all good. It just kind of ruffled my feathers. Not even really ruffle me. It just kind of pissed me off because what y'all don't know is that me and Misha are really cool with each other. I was supposed to meet Misha when one time I went to Houston, actually during the Houston season of Ready to Love. I told her that I was gonna come down and we were supposed to meet, but I don't know if I forgot to hit her up or what. But we were supposed to meet, but I'm gonna work with Misha because we're gonna eventually meet each other. But yeah, I wasn't worried about that. If you feel like I'm a hater, then it is what it is. But I support so many people, so I know who I am. But if that person felt that way, like I said, she got hit with a block really quickly because like I said, she was a subscriber on my channel, and I just gave her what she asked for. You want to think that I'm a hater? Well, goodbye. And I'm gonna tell you guys the reason why she called me a hater. So, Misha was talking about that award that Maurice Scott had gave out. You guys remember the Funky Down Evil award that Maurice gave out? So in Misha's live, I said that award was BS, right? And Misha didn't like that, and I respect that she didn't like it, and I know how she took it, but it wasn't it wasn't what I meant. I didn't mean that him giving the award to her was BS. What I meant was, and I DM Misha and I told her exactly what I meant, and I'll explain it so that people can hear me loud and clearly. What I meant by the fact that that award was BS is, I told this to Shayna. That award was BS because I knew what Maurice was doing. Maurice was trying to cause dissension and division amongst the YouTube community. I could see right through that. I thought he was doing that, and I also thought that Maurice was trying to butter up to people because so many people say so many, like, when people talk nicely about Mel, some people feel like, oh, y'all, so because she shouted y'all out or she's been on y'all's channel, that y'all are, giving her a good review. And I feel like that's what it was with him. I wholeheartedly feel that Maurice had self-serving interest when he came up with that funky Dineva award. So that's what I meant by the award was BS. Not him presenting it to her was BS. I'm saying he was BSing the people. Because you guys don't know, but when she did her interview with Candy, I watched that interview. I was so proud of her. I was so happy for her. I even after the interview, I DM'd her and I told her I was so proud of her. So for if I was a hater, I would have been. If I'm a hater and I was hating, that would have been the thing that I would have been, hating about. But I didn't. I congratulated her for that. So yeah, it is what it is. But back to this episode, I just have to speak my piece on that real quick, and that's it. But Chris, real negative energy, right? So Jessica said to him that they had, came to a decision together that they had no connection with each other, right? So she asked him what was the issue, and you could see it in that moment that he was seething, right? You could look at his lips were pursing, and then if you looked at his eyes were welling up with tears. I was like, this man is getting heated. And I was like, for what? What I gotta say to Jessica is kudos to you because you remain cool and calm in that situation, right? Now, I did see this morning when I woke up that Jessica had tweeted, but she deleted the tweet that Chris had flipped the chair at her, and I said this on the live last night with Shane and them that if you guys go back and look at that scene when Chris was holding that wine glass, it looked like he really wanted to take that wine glass and just throw it in Jessica's face. And I said that I'm so glad that the producers were the cameras were there and the producers were there because I feel like if it wasn't for if they weren't there, we would have got another David and Liz scene. I feel like that. But Chris is very bitch made. And you said last week that women are emotional. Huh. What was that was at the table, sir? You were very emotional. Jessica showed you absolutely nothing. And I think that's what ate you up as a little man. You said, I'm a man. Well, you're a little man at that. Because that age you her not even responding to you, that just sent you to hell and back. And I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. But then for him to say F you and you don't know shit about me, well, Chris, you don't know nothing about her. And that combative title that you just gave her, I think you might want to put that shoe on, sir, because you're very much so giving the combative energy. No, not her. She just sitting there looking at you like you a fool. Like you look like a complete fool in that moment. And I loved every moment. Like I tweeted this. Did I tweet this or if I said I know I said it in my video. I know he gave Red from Friday, when Red said, man, my grandmama gave me that chain and he ran to his car. That is what Chris gave me. He's gonna run to his car and cry. Brandy says, I wish that we would have saw a conversation between Chris and Jessica before we got to this point. I do too. I do too. But I will say though, if you guys do notice, he has been attaching that word combative to her for quite some time. And like I said, when it comes to Chris and Jessica, I have not saw the combative side. I saw a woman who, when he says something, she has an opinion. I think what Chris is used to is the docile woman who will just go along with everything that he says and not have a response or have a reaction to what he says. I think that's what Chris is more so used to, like his ex. I think that's what Chris wants in a woman. I don't think he wants a woman that will challenge him. I don't think that. And I think I was watching Bell's video before I came on here as well. And I will say that with Bell, she said that Chris has some identity issues, and I absolutely agree with that. Evita, yeah, I will say that scene, it did look chopped, right? It did look chopped. But nothing that we exactly nothing we saw from Jessica warranted that reaction. You say I wonder did they leave stuff out of the entire conversation. It's possible that they did leave some things out of that conversation. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't. But from what we saw, she didn't say anything that elicited that response. Nothing. He was the one that exuded the combative energy, right? Because she said that there's something within you, and I don't know what she was saying. If there was something within him that didn't like her, I don't know what she meant by that, but she was very cool. She was very calm. She was just straight face, and I think that might be when people say she's combative. I think that that's probably what it is. It's her face. I think people are looking at her facial expressions. I think people are looking at the way that she speaks as the combative thing. I think that for me, I'm wondering if that's what people see. Her facial expressions, the way she says things, and what it is you guys, and I say this all the time to people, right? I think Jessica is very direct in her speaking. I think she says what she means, and she means exactly what she says, and she doesn't mix, match, or mingle her words. I think she's very precise in what she says, and sometimes people may take that and perceive that a certain way, but it just for me is never given combative. Again, the only person, well, technically, there are two people that have come off very combative this season. One is still here, and the other one is gone. The two people this season that we have saw that have been very combative, Tequila and Janelle. But we have not attached that to either one of them. Never. Hell, somebody else that was combative that left early is what's his name? What's old boy's name with his turban on? Travis. That's a combative energy as well, especially when he was on Crystal XO's channel. So, if Evita says the way Chris reacted was unnecessary, but Chris was correct in saying Jessica and Janelle are mean girls. Now, I will say Janelle is a mean girl. I just haven't. The thing is, I have not saw that from Jessica. I feel like Jessica is getting looped in with Janelle because she is around Janelle. And sometimes that is a negative, sometimes that is something that happens to people, right? It's like the age old saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? But it's not always, so I don't know, you guys. I don't know. But yeah, I don't have it. I mean, oh, that's something I want to say as well. Sorry, you guys, I'm getting all off topic, but it is what it is. So when he said that he never called her combative, right? He lied. But then he came back and said, thank you, Avita, for saying that he was correct in saying that about them being mean girls. Because he said in that same sentence that she was combative, and then he called her and Janelle mean girls. I was like, so you did, so you can admit that you called her combative. You said you didn't call her combative, but you called her combative in this moment right here. Sir, like, you're a coward. That's all I saw in Chris was coward, 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 coward. But I want you guys to tell me your thoughts and opinions about like who's um again, last night I was on social media and I saw so many people who were in defense of I saw so many people who were in defense of Chris. I was like, how are y'all in defense of Chris? So Evita says the way that Jessica acted towards Lee in the ladies' lounge gives me Mean Girl vibes. Yeah, so she tweeted about that too as well. And I think she called herself when I think she was trying to be shady, but then she took it back when she said I wasn't talking about you. But I don't think she was being a mean girl. I think she was just being shady as hell. Like he can't buy me no gifts, but he can buy, I think she was just trying to be shady. That was the vibe that I got. I think she was being shady, but I can see how it came off as mean. Um Motown Investor says he was very combative. Absolutely. But he wants to attach that to her. Sir, please miss me with the BS. Miss me with that. But yeah, Chris can go. I don't want to, and I don't need to see him at the reunion, but I'm pretty positive he'll be at the reunion. I hope that Tommy has like. Here's my thing with Chris. I'm not Chris. Here's my thing with Tommy. Tommy never really holds the men to accountable unless they well. Only time he doesn't holds them accountable is when he's their frat brother. I want Tommy to keep the energy on the keep the energy concise when it comes to the men. The last time I saw him really come for a man was David. And I can't he came for David. I think it was another man after that, but I can't remember. I cannot remember. Um Brandy says, I don't see how anyone can defend Chris. I don't either, but it's so many pick me women out there that are defending him, saying that, oh well, Jessica has been combative towards him. Combative or not, does that so do you so let me ask this question because I don't know if anybody on my channel is defending of it, but I just had this question. Like, if to anybody who even sees this and you defend Chris, how can you defend him? Would you want a man to do that to you? That's the question I'm going to ask. Would any woman want to sit in front of a man and a man talk to you like that, tell you F you, you don't know ish about me, and just yelling in your face? Would you want that? I highly doubt that. Shayna says Jessica better bring that chair flip up at the reunion. I hope she does. I hope she does. Like, come on. But yeah, I don't know how I agree with you, Brandon. I don't know. I don't see how anyone can defend it, but a pick me will defend anything. I mean, look at Katarina. She defended him, calling her combative. And yeah, that's my thoughts and opinions. But I definitely want to know what you guys think in the live chat. I do appreciate you guys for joining me for this live. I really do appreciate it. This season, you guys, for me, this season is just not given. And I was expecting Dallas to give what the second season of Houston gave to me, because that's the season that I started watching and I actually enjoyed that season. But Ready to Love has been on a downward spiral ever since then. I can't even tell you a season of Ready to Love that I've enjoyed since Dallas, because I hated DC, I hated Potomac, I hated both seasons of Miami, and this season right here, I don't hate this season. It just put me to sleep. That's all it's doing. It is just putting me asleep. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about. I know Shane, what you feel about Dallas. So we got one more season of Dallas, you guys, and then after that we are going down to New Orleans. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking of. Hopefully, the second season of Dallas is better. I don't know. I don't know. But also, you guys, like I said previously on in some of my videos and in my live, one of the reasons why this season was so disjointed is because of one of the reasons why this season was disjointed is because they filmed it in 4 weeks. Hold on. So Brandy says this season is worse than both Miami season. Really? Well, I will say this season is I'll take this season over those Miami seasons. I will take this because the first Miami season, the cast, oh Jesus, some of that cast, not that they don't like me, but some of them they came to me. Quite a few of them. Some of them I'm cool. I talked to. Some of them were who. Some of them didn't like me. Some of them got in my DMs about things that were said on videos. and last season I just couldn't do it. Only one person from last season I know was what was his name? What was Jesus? It's Tony. Tony is the only one that I had communication with last season. It started out rocking with me and Tony, but we finally got on good footing. Evita says I'm not defending him, but he went from 0 to 100 so quick. I feel like it was much more to that argument. It probably was, but I don't think she. I think he is someone that is not in control of his emotions. So Shannon says cancel Dallas expeditiously. No, we ain't do that to Shannon. Get off my city. It's just this. I think it's casting as well. I think that's probably one of the biggest issues is casting. So you say I agree with my good sis Brandy. Miami is better than Dallas. Oh, we can agree to disagree on that one. We can agree to disagree on that one, y'all. That Dallas, that Miami. Mm-mm. Neither one of the Miami seasons were good. I hated both of them. Brandy, they were playing with the connections as well, but they were entertaining at least, and the story was a little better. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that part. See, with Miami, I don't know how long Miami took to film, so that I think again that could be the issue. You say a huge lack of compatibility this season. I agree. I agree. I agree with all of your assessments. Minus we gonna have to. We literally got to agree to disagree, guys. That the Miami seasons were better. Those people had no connections either. Both Miami seasons, nobody had connections. Those were just faked those were fake as fuck. Every last one of them. Every last one. But you guys, who I gotta get off of here, you guys. So I will let's see. What do I have coming up? What do I have coming up? I still need to sit down and do my hot topics video. So I know I keep saying every week that I do hot topics, I'm gonna try to get back on schedule with them. I am, you guys. Give me some time to get back on schedule, to get back to filming, having the hot topics up on Fridays. I'm gonna get back to that eventually. Um, what else? So hot topics, you guys should see that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. That is my goal. I'm gonna push myself for that. I'm gonna push myself for 10 a.m. Then you guys will see tomorrow as well. I gotta watch it. You guys will see Power Book 4, Force Episode 2, Love and Marriage Detroit Reunion Part 2. That's about to come on in a few minutes. I'm not watching that live, you guys. I'm gonna watch that later tonight after the episode goes off. And join me live for that tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time. Then I will be back for Real Housewives of Atlanta um, reunion part 2. I sincerely hope that this is a 2-part reunion, and then join me Monday when we go live for a brand new episode of the Real Housewives of New York, you guys. And so also, you guys, I think I'm gonna stick with doing. I know a lot of people said that they don't watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, right? But you got the people. You guys definitely watch that live, and I appreciate you guys so much for watching that live. I didn't think anybody was gonna watch it, but I appreciate you guys immensely for watching it. So yeah, that's it, you guys. I will catch you guys later. Like I said, I will see you guys in the comment section for Power Book 4 Forest, Hot Topics, as well as what else will I see? What else am I? Oh, and Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then I'll see you guys live tomorrow morning for um Love and Marriage DC. So let me get these last few comments and then we'll be out of here. So Brandon says at least we had Morgan and Tony cutting up. Yeah, I got a lot of tea on Morgan and Tony too from Tony. Shana says the hot topics been a little chilly lately. Yeah, they have been. And then you say there's really no hot topics to discuss. I got a few things that I can talk about because I still haven't really talked about Erica Menadem. So I got a few things that I can discuss. Not a lot, but I got a few things to discuss. But yeah, you guys, Actually, speaking of which, what do I have to discuss? Yeah, it's not a lot, but y'all know I can stretch them hot topics. And don't ask me how I do it, because I sometimes when I be editing them videos, I'm like, how in the hell did you talk for damn near an hour? I just be sitting there thinking to myself, how did you talk for almost an hour about nothing? But yeah, you guys, be sure to just do me a solid favor with this video and this live. Please like the live, you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Please turn on your post notifications. And also, you guys, please share this video with your friends, everybody who knows, knows if you know somebody that knows somebody, share with them, you guys. And as always, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I will see you guys in the next I'll see you guys in the next video, because the videos will be up before my live tomorrow. Fingers crossed. But yeah, you guys, have a good night. Bye, Evita. Bye, Shayna. Bye, everybody who came into the comments. I appreciate you guys. Bye, you guys. Have a good one. See you later.